Hi everyone. Just thought it would be useful to share with you the key areas that we're going to be focusing on in the Enterprise Advisor Network just to the end of this academic year and beyond really, and where you as Enterprise Advisors can help your schools and colleges in those priority areas. So the areas that we're going to be focusing on. So first of all, we are going to try and get all of our remaining schools in the network matched with an enterprise advisor. And, we could really ask you to help with this by refer a friend, referring anyone that you know that might be interested in being an enterprise advisor and supporting one of the schools or colleges across the county. And also, please, if you can, remember to do shout outs. So any of the great work that you're doing with schools and colleges, please do tweet about it or post on LinkedIn, etc. Just so that we start really raising the profile of careers across our county. So, if you've had a meeting with a school, just post something very simple, enjoyed meeting the career leader at the school to talk about careers. It really starts making increasing the awareness. Oh, please also remember to use your email signatures and your banners, your website banners, your social media banners that we provided. But I'll attach them to the newsletter as well for you to get them from there if you're not using them already. And then we're focusing on the 3 benchmarks: 1, Stable Careers Programme; 5, Encounters with Employers and Employees; and 6, Experiences of the Workplace. So, benchmark 1 is all about us having a stable careers programme. So the government strategy, which was published in 2017 and due a bit of an update, and also the statutory guidance for schools, which was published in 2018, sets out the plan for building a high quality careers system that will help young people achieve their potential and really help make the very best transition from their education into employment. And the 8 Gatsby benchmarks are really the blueprint of what a good careers provision looks like. And we know that if schools can meet the benchmarks, then they will be meeting and more their statutory requirements. Benchmark 1 then is all about having a stable careers programme. It's really essential that career leaders have a clear understanding of their school's strategic objectives so that they can ensure that their careers programmes aligned with whole school priorities. Ofsted are so keen on seeing careers being embedded within a school or college, not a distinct and separate entity, but embedded in every lesson, in every subject, across everything the school does. So this careers programme, which ought to be born out of a clear careers strategy, needs to be known and understood by students, parents, teachers, governors, employers, and has the explicit backing of senior leadership. It also needs to be published on the website so that all of those stakeholders can have access to it. And it needs to be regularly evaluated with feedback from those previously mentioned stakeholders. Again, Ofsted are hugely keen, purely focused on impact. What impact has the careers programme had? So we need to really help career leaders understand how to set intent and then how to implement it. They're usually good at the implementation part, but it's the intent and impact that sometimes they struggle with. And that's where you as an enterprise advisor can really add value, bringing your sort of business expertise on setting and working with strategies to help the career leader. The programme needs to be sequential and progressive and have something in there for all the year groups from year 7 through to 13. I've simplified a template Benchmark 1 strategy template for career leaders to use. And you could work with them on this in conjunction with them or go through it. So if they've never set a strategy for their careers program, it goes from the beginning of finding out where they're currently at, what priorities are, and identifying some strategic objectives from which they can set some learning outcomes and plan some activities. But it might be that your career leader, your school has already got a strategy, in which case I'd really sort of ask that you go through it with your career leader and really look at it, act as a critical friend really, and spot, are there any gaps either in sectors or pathways or challenging stereotypes, things like that, that you can either just highlight, or you may well have some contacts that can provide some sort of gap filling or support. Benchmark 5, well, we know from research that a young person who has 4 or more encounters, meaningful encounters with an employer, is 86% less likely to be unemployed or not in any form of education or training when they leave school. So every student should have multiple opportunities to learn from employers about work, about employment, and about the skills that are valued in the workplace. Students really then should participate in at least one meaningful encounter with an employer every year they're at school, from year 7 through to 13. And where possible, encounters should be aligned with the strategic economic plan of your county. And if you want to have a read of Greater Lincolnshire's strategic plan, that's there on the LEP website. So Benchmark 5 really now presents an opportunity for adaptation of careers programs. COVID-19's really driven lots of employers to seek digital solutions to support sort of virtual provision of encounters. And we really need to encourage career leaders to perhaps re-engage with their employer partners, just to reassure them that there is still indeed an appetite in school or college for encounters, even if it is online. So we're continuing to work with career leaders to help them identify opportunities for this benchmark, but there's some really quick wins you as their EA could do. So some examples: you could record a 5-minute talking head about your role, how you got there. You could ask your colleagues to do some too. And if you've got any apprentices, then please do ask them to do one, because young people really will relate to them. You could offer to do a short lesson starter in a subject relevant to your role or business, just to help highlight how that particular subject links to the careers. We know that when they can see the relevance of what they're learning, attainment in that subject increases. And again, it doesn't have to be you personally delivering these things. If you've got any work colleagues or anyone in your network who would be able to, then yeah, that would be great. You could offer to chat with a small group of interested students. You could offer to help with personal statements or CVs or interview skills, for example. And again, it might be someone else in your organisation who will do this. You could be part of a speed, we often refer to it as speed dating, but it isn't dating, of course, where we have a panel of employers, and students sort of get a couple of minutes with each to find out about their job, and then they move on to the next one. So, you know, with all of these, where possible, we need to have some element of two-way engagement to make it really meaningful. But there's lots of ways that you can do that if you want to help your school or college in sort of increase the numbers of encounters they have. And please remember to share your network of contacts as well. Ask anyone in your network, your supply chain, if they would also come and do some of these things too. This one is benchmark 6, which is experiences of the workplace. And this one is what most career leaders would say was their sort of, classic students going out for a week or two and spending that block time in a workplace. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that this year because of COVID, but even aside from that, many schools haven't been offering work experience for a number of years because of cost or logistics, or just not wanting students to be off timetable for that long. So actually, again, we've seen lots of opportunities to give students experiences of workplace that have arisen because we haven't been able to sort of send them out on block release. So the virtual encounters have been really presenting some fantastic opportunities. To make sure that any experience students have counts for this benchmark, we need to make sure that there's two-way interaction between students and employees, that students perform some sort of work task or project that's relevant to that workplace. And really the experience can be anything from a couple of hours to a couple of days or longer. It doesn't need to be complicated at all. And your career leader will be able to do most of the planning and organising and just tell you where you need to add. So lots and lots of opportunities. We've had some fantastic examples already from some of you that have been offering this with your school, and we'd love to see more. So please feel free to speak to your enterprise coordinator or your career leader about possibly doing something like this. I've attached the how-to guide that we created that really walks you through how to offer an experience of the workplace. Tells you everything you need to know, even has some example timetables from everything from a 2-hour experience to a 2-day experience. So please do have a little look at that and think, is there something you could do? And again, pass it on to someone else in your organisation if you feel they are better placed to move forward with it. So they're the priorities that we're working on, and as always, your help and support working with the school or college that you're matched to help them achieve these priorities is so greatly appreciated. And your support's so important. So thank you ever so much.